So this is my third attempt to record this video. First one was I didn't have my mic on, and then the second one I did not have my OBS settings correct. So we're on attempt 3 to make this video. So fingers crossed we're gonna make it. So the thing that I want to talk about is this massive social security fraud that is being exposed. And it's I came across this morning, and the numbers are staggering for how big this how big this fraud could be. This could be, if nothing else, this could be the thing that just blows the entire doors off any restraint on auditing and breaking our government down, because the numbers involved in this are astronomical. If you look at this, these are all people. Oh, let me go back. So it says, I'll read what Elon wrote. He said, according to the Social Security database, these are the numbers of people in each age bracket with the death field set to false. Maybe Twilight is real and there's a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. So if we look at this, look how high this goes. 360 to 369 years old. Apparently we've got one of these people alive. That's older than the actual age of this nation. Our America is at 136 years or 100 or 360 years old. Sorry. So apparently we got two just massively old people in this country. But even then, rolling it back, look at the astronomical ages of supposed people that are alive and collecting Social Security, or at least have a Social Security number. Now, whether or not a check is going out to these people, that I guess is to be determined. I haven't heard anything about that, and I was kind of trying to look that up, and I didn't see anything. But I think that we could pretty safely take anything that's 120 years old and older and start attributing fraud to it if there are checks going out to it. And so if you take these massive numbers, let's see, do I have, so I wasn't sure of what age you could retire at. So 67. So if you were born from 1960 onwards, 67 is the age you have to reach for full retirement. And as you go further back in time, that age goes down because, there's apparently hundreds of billions of dollars in yearly fraud happening, and they can't sustain the system. So they're forcing us to work later and later and later. You were only put on this earth to work 40 plus hours a week, preferably 60 to 80 hours a week, so that by the time you reach your retirement age, your body is broken. You've contributed enough economic value to the system that the elites, I guess, are happy at that point at 67. And then you're allowed to go off into your retirement for 3 to 5 years before you broke. And so you paid in to a system for the entirety of your life, probably 45, maybe 50 years. And at the end of it, it supports you with a pretty negligible monthly payment of about $1,790 is the numbers I've been seeing. So it pays you out at about $1,790 a month until you die, which apparently is a long time for some of these people. And all in all, it seems like a pretty broken deal to me, even without the fraud. And so if we look at some of these comments, pull this up. So somebody did the math on this, and it says there are 394,943,364, but total population of the US is about 334 million. This would mean that, just rough numbers, there's about 60 million people who are dead, but yet still marked as alive and possibly receiving Social Security checks. Um, Elon responded, yes, there are far more eligible social security numbers than there are citizens in the US. This might be the biggest fraud in history, which I can agree with. We're going to open this up. He goes, there's a difference of nearly 60 million people between how many social security numbers there are and how many living people there are in the United States. That's fraud or unimaginable scales. Says the number of U.S. citizens eligible for Social Security is closer to 310 million. So that's going off the charts there and eliminating basically. Okay, so the number of the number of U.S. citizens that it will eventually be able to be eligible for Social Security is apparently 310 million. So that actually sets what was his number again? 394. So that's about 84 million additional people. So there are more eligible Social Security numbers than there are citizens in the U.S. This might be the biggest fraud in history. Yeah, we already read that. What's super weird is that the USGAO, what is this? USGAO reports, podcasts, and more from the congressional watchdog, the U.S. Government Accountability Office, for our legal decisions and opinions follow. So that's what the USGAO is. It's supposedly reports, podcasts, and more from the congressional watchdog, the U.S. Government Accountability Office. So what does Elon have to say about that? Sometimes you just got to look stuff up. If you don't know it, just look it up. So what's super weird is the USGAO pointed out years ago that millions of dead people were tagged as alive by the Social Security, but nothing was done. So if this is true, I'm not saying these numbers, I think these numbers are accurate, but if it is true that there are a large number of these obviously passed away people's Social Security numbers still having checks sent out to them, I'm curious, like, where are the checks going? Are they going, who's filing for it? Who's cashing them? What accounts are they going to? And all that should be readily, like that information should be easy to trace. I mean, they track everything that we do. So I would think that this would be easy to figure out. And if we are paying tens of millions of obviously dead people, almost $2,000 a month, like, what does that mean? How? It's obviously been going on for decades, if that's the case. You look at the ages on some of those people, and if those are being paid out, that means that they've been being paid out for quite a long time, because they've been older than 67 years old for a very long time, almost since like the founding of Social Security. So it makes you wonder, what are people going to do if this turns out to be something like, I seen one estimated number, $260 billion, to see if I could. So if you assume $1,750 a month payment and that no one is over 120 years old, yes, I know the 80 to 120 years is also shaky. We are being robbed of at least $260 billion a year. If this is true, pull this up. If this is true, let's go to the main screen so you can get a good look at it. If this is true, and we are actually losing 100 or $260 billion a year through fraud, and we're able to, well, if that's happening, obviously we're going to trace the money. What's going to happen when we discover who's done it and who's behind it and who's allowed it? Like, if there's one thing that's going to wake up normies, I think this might be it. Like, this is on a scale unimaginable. And so, fingers crossed. I'm hoping that, well, actually, I'm hoping it's true, because if it's true and we can purge these things, and we've been paying this out. I mean, we just saved, a couple $100 billion. So that would be good. But I also hope for it because, I want people to wake up and stop defending this government. And I mean, even now, you have people that are literally up in arms and mad at the guy that's pointing out how they're being robbed. So you get robbed. Let's say, just a quick analogy. You get robbed. Somebody steals a bunch of your stuff. Then a guy comes along, figures out who robbed you, tells you who robbed you, and is attempting to get your stuff back. And that's the guy you're mad at. Like, if that's your mindset, if you're mad at Elon and Doge for pointing out the fraud to you, like, you're a fucking retard. Like, you're honestly stupid. You have to have room temperature IQ. Like, you don't have to like Elon, his personality. You don't have to like Trump, his personality. But if somebody's actually pointing out how your government is hurting you and you're mad at them for it, like, that's a you thing. That has nothing to do with the people that you're hating. That's a you thing. You're broken inside. Like, you've consumed, like, all the propaganda, and you haven't rejected any of it. So, with that, I'm going to say, if you like this video, consider liking this video. Subscribing is free, and comment down below. If you find out that our government's been ripping us off to this tune, do you still feel like we owe them taxes? Don't they owe us something at this point? Like, how is it that they keep robbing us, but yet we still owe them? They never owe us. There's never a restitution to the taxpayers that have been defrauded. So, comment down below what you think about all this. And with that, drive safe, and I'll catch you next time.